After driving the Dodge Charger Daytona EV, I am 100% convinced that Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares hated Dodge. And I'm going to give you plenty of information in this video to support my theory, and I want you to ask yourself this question. Did Carlos Tavares want Dodge and Chrysler to succeed or fail? Because what if I told you he sabotaged Dodge because the HEMI compliance fines got in the way of his compensation pay, and his actions frustrated executives, engineers, product, and led to the downfall of one of America's premier performance brands?
Thank you.
America, it's time to make some trouble. Step one, stir it up.
If you've been watching my channel for the last couple of years, you know I love a good deal. Whether it's saving $1,000 on Ram TRXs or Hellcats or helping you guys save money on your Demon 170s from all these dealer shenanigans, I love good deals. And there's no better deal that I can figure out online than with my buddies at JustBought-Ons and DragRacingWheels.com, where you can use my promo code BUTTER at checkout to save up to an additional 15% off on your next order. So check out my friends at JustBought-Ons and DragRacingWheels.com, where some of the best prices online just got a little bit better. From the beginning stages of Stellantis, I've heard from plenty of higher ups in Stellantis and the UAW about Carlos Tavares. Now, I'm not going to spread all the things that I heard about him in the background, but it is safe to say from who I've been talking to that most people in that company did not like him. I've yet to hear a single person tell me anything nice about him in 5 years. And I'm pretty sure my other two amigos, OC Motivator and TK's Garage, could say the same thing for who they've been talking to. Now, why do I say that Carlos Tavares hated Dodge and Chrysler? Because word around the campfire was during the negotiations when they were trying to merge with FCA, that Tavares was not very interested in Dodge and Chrysler, and basically Ram and Jeep was their cash cows that he wanted all along. And you can see over 5 years which of those brands benefited from a Stellantis merger and which one of them have been failing ever since. Now, if you take Chrysler for example, they're about to have their 100-year anniversary, and all it has to show for it in 5 years is a Pacifica minivan. You know, 300 replacement that was teased during EV Day.
Now we're working on these vehicles together, which allows us to share some of the most costly components in a way never before done. So 8 vehicles are now being created that will come to market in the next 3 to 5 years.
No airflow replacement that they had running around all the auto shows because their brand CEO, who's a rookie, she wanted something edgy for a minivan brand, but there's nothing to show for it on the 100-year anniversary of Chrysler. No Chrysler rebadged Dodge Durangos, no rebadged Wagoneers to bring SUVs to the brand, just a minivan for the 100-year anniversary of Chrysler. Ram gained in 5 years a TRX, a RHO, a Tungsten, a Warlock, a platform upgrade, 2 Hurricane engines, and now HD trucks are being updated too. And I don't have to even get into all the different trims they added in the HD truck range. Now, Jeep, on the other hand, they gained 2 Wagoneers, a Wagoneer EV, a redesigned Grand Cherokee, a 3-row longer Grand Cherokee, a Grand Cherokee 4xe system, an updated Wrangler, a 392 version, a 4xe version, an updated Gladiator, an updated Cherokee returning now. They got an updated Compass. They got a Recon EV coming. I mean, I can go on and on to tell you how many things that Jeep has gotten over all the other brands, but you get the point.
Now, if that wasn't enough, and you're really paying attention, and you're really quick with the math.
And what did Dodge gain in 5 years? Well, they gained SRT being disbanded, the 6.2-liter HEMI V8 was given its walking papers, the Challenger and Charger was basically dismissed, they got the Hornet.
And my new best little friend. This thing is a blast.
When we looked at Hornet, we had the opportunity to share with the upcoming Denali. If you don't like the idea, you're quick to point out, well, this is badge engineering, isn't it? And I was joking when we unveiled the car, this might be a disaster because we're going into a segment that's not asking for any of these things. None of them.
They got the Durango Hellcat, and they got lost the Durango Hellcat, then they brought Durango Hellcat back, then they got sued for it.
Yep. There's still time to get the most powerful SUV ever. Durango SRT Hellcat is back for the 23 model year. And even though they were able to figure out how to keep building it, you all know the stories you heard about emissions, compliance, and blah, blah, blah. It is not detuned. Still 710 horsepower, 645 pound-feet of torque, and still the best-in-class towing. And most importantly, it's the most badass SUV you can buy, period.
Then they got what, the Demon 170, which was one of the last products I think that was approved before Stellantis merger. And then now we got the oversized.
The day is finally here. Today is first call as we officially open for orders on the all-new 24 model year Dodge Charger Daytona.
But I spent way more time telling you what Ram and Jeep gained than I tell you about what Dodge and Chrysler gained. If you look at Carlos Tavares' CEO compensation, especially in the SEC filings, he had his pay incentives tied to pushing EVs out, hence why you're seeing the whole Dare Forward nonsense. They try to push the Charger Daytona, the Wagoneer S, and the Ram Rev out way faster than when they was actually ready to come out for mainstream primetime. And you can see that because all three vehicles were delayed pretty much a year, and the Ram Rev is the one of the three that has not even had a release date, that never even came out to public. And I've had people who actually work in the plants tell me that that line they built to make that truck is sitting bare, and other vehicles like this right here of these prototypes, they don't work. And the other two cars, the Charger Daytona and the Wagoneer S, they have both been widely panned by reviewers and critics. After driving one myself, the Charger Daytona Scat Pack EV, it is clear to me that this is not a muscle car. What muscle car have you ever heard of that cannot do a damn burnout? That's like muscle car one-on-one stuff here. But I'll go over the issues that I had with that car in another video. But this car should have been given a different purpose. It should have been what the Mach-E is to Ford, an EV that built just cheap enough, just good enough to sell just decent enough to keep the V8 in the Mustang. And that's it. That's all it should have been. It shouldn't have been a Scat Pack, shouldn't have been an RT. It should have been a cheap car that sells in volume. That way they can offset their emissions credits. The Charger Daytona should have been a cheap 400 horsepower rear-wheel drive car with maybe 200, 250 miles of range. That way that the Brotherhood can enjoy their Halo cars because that car sells just good enough to offset the emissions fines that we would have in V8 Halo cars. But Carlos Tavares had his incentives tied to his compensation package to push EVs out before 2025. He also had stuff like lowering costs, like firing employees, do UAW layoffs, switching to low-cost suppliers, and that increased actual quality issues because that is a lower weight on the compensation scale, which is why the quality issues got worse over the past couple of years. And there are other things I can get into, but it's just clear to me that the downfall of Stellantis is tied to one person. And now you can do this test right here yourself. Don't take my word for it. Try to find a single picture of Carlos Tavares standing beside a single Dodge product or even Tim Kuniskis. What I did find were pictures of Carlos Tavares beside Jeep and Ram products. I also found pictures of him beside Jeep and Ram CEOs. But I cannot find a single picture of him beside my dear friend Tim Kuniskis or my new frenemy Matt McClure, which is very odd, don't you think, for him not to have any pictures beside any CEOs of one of his major brands in America. Kind of crazy, don't you think? Which probably explains this right here.
Ram's a really good example of that. If we had that safety blanket of buying credits, we would still be building and selling the ancient iron block HEMI V8 that everybody loves. Knowing that we're going into this environment has forced us into a space where we had to develop a whole new powertrain strategy. A very high-tech twin-turbo 3-liter Hurricane that's going to actually give much better performance and be much more efficient and more flexible in the future. We wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for those regulations. So, but the CEO, he burned our boats, and we're forced to make the tough calls to make sure that we're on a trajectory towards the long-term compliance.
And then after that, Tim Kuniskis left because probably he got tired of Carlos Tavares' nonsense of canceling products for Dodge, because where is this Charger Superstar that was teased at the end of the Never Lift campaign video?
To never lift.
And where's this car right here that's under the covers?
Embracing the brand's history while looking to the future.
Now, I heard from a reliable source that something was supposed to happen to this car right here that was under the covers sometime in 2024. So where is it? Then once Tavares is gone, Kuniskis, he just magically comes back, which TK knew that before everyone else knew. And then Tavares, who basically killed the HEMI, Kuniskis says that it was very un-American and now he will not rule out a V8 engine. Then we hear that 5.7 liter HEMI is coming back to Dundee. And now we hear that Matt McClure, the CEO of Dodge now, won't rule out a V8 going to the Dodge Charger. So it's clear to me who was for V8s and who was not. Who was for Dodge succeeding and who was plotting for the downfall of Dodge in my eyes. But what do you guys think? The Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares is not in photos with Kuniskis or Matt McClure in 5 years. Not seen in photos of launches like the Demon 170, the Dodge Hornet, or even the Charger Daytona. And he pushed that electric vehicle that was not ready for prime time over gasoline engines, which had already been out for years, especially in the Wagoneers. But seriously, they cannot launch it at the same time with the Charger. Do you guys believe that Dodge was set up to fail? Dodge has so many fines with the 5.7, the 6.4, and the 6.2 HEMIs that Tavares clearly wanted the brand neutered with Hurricanes and EV drivetrains, so he had to pay for compliance fines. So let me know what you guys think. Will Dodge rebound, or Tavares cause too much damage to the brand that it's going to take time to actually get back on track? And until the next time, I'm out.
Look, here's the facts. We didn't ask for the rules to change. We didn't want them to change, but they did. And we can try to outrun them, but that would be a 9-second pass straight into extinction. Or we can do what we did. Read their rules, study their rules, find their gray areas, then unleash. Now trust me, this is not the that they want you to have. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Thank you.
America, it's time to make some trouble.